Hello my friends, welcome back to my channel. So today we have May's TBR, and for the last few months, I have always done a TBR video, and then I have almost never stuck to it, like maybe read one or two books. And yet, I keep making them, and I'm not gonna go into it again, but like, I have this theory that maybe the reason why I haven't stuck to them is because I've been doing it sort of randomly, like choosing books out of a TBR jar or using a spinner wheel, and I felt like maybe I wasn't super emotionally attached to those books, and so I decided this time, instead of making it more random and more of a game, that I picked books that I want to get to like ASAP, that I have just like really been dying to read. So that's what I have on my TBR today. They're just books that I have been wanting to read and I haven't gotten to, so hopefully by putting them on here, I actually get to them instead of just not. So let's get into it. So I have a few books that I don't own physical copies of. Two of them are audiobooks and one is an ARC, and I'm going to start with the ARC that I have. And this one I absolutely will be reading in May, and that is Neon Gods by Katie Robert. I know that this is her newest book. It releases in June, and this is a Hades and Persephone retelling, and from everyone that I've heard who has read it, they have absolutely loved it, and especially my friend Jen from the Book Refuge, she really loved this book, and she specifically said, you need to read it. So definitely, this is definitely happening for sure. I'm actually really super excited about this one, and it's kind of been hard for me to not prioritize it over other arcs that I've had because I want to read it so badly. So that is happening for sure. Okay, and then I have the two audiobooks, and one of them is Duchess by Design by Maya Rodal. This is the first book in her Gilded Age historical romance series, and I have the audiobook. I have had this audiobook for several months. This was part of the Kiss Club that Libro FM does. Like every month they have some Avon romances. There are often a lot of historical romances on there that are only like $2 or $3. And this was one of them a few months ago. I grabbed it and I just haven't read it, and I'm trying to go through what I have on my audiobooks that I have bought and make sure and get those listened to, because also something that I've been doing is just using my library and not the books that I've actually paid for. So I'm gonna try and do a better job of both utilizing my library and the audiobooks that I've already bought. So I'm very excited about this. I've heard wonderful things about Maya Rodal. We have one of the books, I think it's the third book in this series, that is going to be our Rake Appreciation Society book in the summer. I will talk about that as we get closer to it. So another audiobook that I have from Libro FM that was also a Kiss Club purchase is Winter Garden by Adele Ashworth. Now, this is an older book. This was published in 2000, so it's 21 years old, and I feel really old by saying that that's an older book. Anyway, this is also a historical romance. I have heard really good things about this, but it's been several years, like from the people that I know on Goodreads who have read this, Kennedy Ryan. They gave it 5 stars, but it was like they read it in like 2013 or something like that. So I'm really curious to see how this holds up. I believe that the heroine in this is a spy, and it takes place in France, and the love interest, the hero, is who she's partnered up with to work this case. So I'm really excited about this. I hope so badly that it's good, because I've never read this author before, and I hope it's amazing. I really do. Okay, and another book that is definitely happening, that is priority. Now we're getting into all of the books that I own physical copies of. So one that is absolutely happening is After Midnight by Theresa Medeiros. This is our Rake Appreciation Society book club pick for May. The Rake Appreciation Society is a historical romance book club that I run with my dearest friend Jen from the Book Refuge. I will have her channel linked down below, as well as a Discord channel that we have set up for this book club where we can talk about historical romance and the books that we're reading. We will be having a live show for this on my channel the second Thursday in May, and that will be at 6 p.m. CDT, I believe. Yeah. I'll have the details about that below, or if I'm completely wrong, I'll put the date on the screen. I'm sorry. So I'm excited about this. This is a historical romance, and it sounds like it has a little bit of a paranormal twist because there's some suspicions that the hero is a vampire. So I'm excited about this. I do not know if this is available as an ebook, so this is probably going to be a physical read only for those of us who are going to read this, so we hope that you will join us. I'm really looking forward to this. I think it's going to be an interesting one for sure. Okay, let's get into more of the books that I really want to read. So, I was just making my TBR for this video, and I got a package today, and would you believe that these are books from my friend Jen at the Book Refuge? She picked 2 books that were on my Amazon wishlist that I have really been wanting to read, and she read both of these and loved them both, and she's been wanting me to read them, so I put both of these in this video, but I think it's probably more likely that I will be reading this, Love and War by Shira. I don't know a whole lot about this other than I believe it takes place in World War II. Is that correct? And I've heard that it's completely beautiful, and Jen just loved it. And I believe that Charles from Books on Stereo has a interview with this author that I think would be really great to watch. So I'm super excited about this. I think it sounds amazing, and it's pretty short, so I think this may be the one I read, but I've also heard wonderful things about Devil's Bride from many people in the historical romance community, but Jen, I know, specifically loved this, and she says she thinks that I will really love it because it's very romantic, and I love that. So I'm excited about this one too. If I can find the audiobook, I will probably listen to this month also. So one of these is for sure happening. Thank you so much, Jen. Okay, so another book that I really want to read is Not the Duke's Darling by Elizabeth Hoyt. So this is actually her new series that she's writing. This is called the Grey Court series, and it's sort of a spin-off from the Maiden Lane series. So this is the first book in that. And I actually have just barely finished the second book in this series. I read the second book first because I had an arc. It was released in December, and I just barely finished it finally. So now I want to go back and read the first book. I loved the second book. It was amazing, and I'm pretty sure that this one will be too. So I'm super excited to read more Elizabeth Hoyt because I love her. And this book I am very excited for. This book was also a gift. This was sent to me by Tala. She is a dear friend on Instagram and YouTube. She found this edition of this Lisa Kleypas book that I have been wanting for so long, and she just picked it up and sent it to me, and I was so grateful. So I definitely want to read this month. I think this is the historical Hellions pick for May. It may be June, but I think it's May. But I want to read this for sure. I'm very excited about it. I've never read this before, and I just feel so happy that I have this covered. Thank you so much, Tala. Okay, so now I have a few fantasy romance books that I want to get to. And one of those is the sequel to Promise of Darkness, which I just recently read. It was a fantasy romance. It was involving the Fae. I absolutely loved the first one. I gave it 5 stars. It was probably one of the best fantasy romances that I've ever read. It had a really wonderful fantasy world. It was very creative. It was very unique, and it was really well drawn out. And the romance was also just so great. It was very clever too. The writing was really well done, and the plotting was careful. I just adored it, honestly. I thought it was fantastic. So this is the second book in the series, and I really want to carry on with it because I just loved and adored the first one. So this one is Crown of Darkness, and super excited to see what happens to my babies. Alright, and now I have a couple of very hyped books that I had to put on here. I really want to read them, and the first one is The Crown of Gilded Bones by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I want to read this mostly because I really want to avoid spoilers, and I feel like this just recently came out last Tuesday. I can't remember the date, the 22nd, I think, and I didn't really love the first book in this series at all. Honestly, was pretty disappointed with it. The second book in the series I thought was better, but I am now invested in these characters, so I really want to find out what happens in the third book. Also, I just like to be part of the hype for this. I don't know why. I think I just really love getting to be a part of a really hyped fantasy series. I just think that's really fun, and I know most people love this, so I'm excited about this. I hope it's good. I hope it's good. I really do. So this is gonna happen in May. Okay, and another book that I have that is a fantasy that I am very excited about, and I love and adore this author, and it has This was a book that I pre-ordered, and I just thought I will get to that someday soon, hopefully. But now with Shadow and Bone out and everybody watching it, I really want to finish this duology. This is Rule of Wolves. This is the second book in her, I don't know if it's called the King of Scars duology, but this is basically a spin-off both of the Shadow and Bone series and the Six of Crows duology. So this book follows Nikolai and Nina and Zoya. Well, the first book did. And the first book ended with such a huge cliffhanger. I remember finishing that and just being like, what? So now I have to find out what happens in this. And this is just a beautiful cover. Honestly, watching the Shadow and Bone show has just reignited my love for the series. And Leigh Bardugo, I think she's just a fantastic writer. Those books really mean a lot to me. I will be making a video with just my thoughts and feelings about the series once I finish watching it. I'm not finished watching it yet, so no spoilers down below. Anyway, very excited about this. I can't wait to see how this finishes. And the last book that I have on my TBR that I am definitely going to get to is The Pool Boy. This is by Nikki Sloan. This is an age gap romance with an older woman, younger man, and I have heard really good things about this. I hear that it is very spicy, and I have very high expectations for this. So this was sent to me by Victoria at Christmas time, and I love and appreciate Victoria so much. Thank you so much for sending it to me. And I have been eyeing it every month since then, thinking I really want to read that. So this month, it is on my TBR, and it is happening. So there we have it. These are all the books that I really want to read this month. I hope I can get to all of them. I probably won't, but well, I for sure am going to get to some of these. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and let me know what you're excited to read in the month of May. I would love to hear that. I'll see you in my next video.